Who heard about dancing? Who heard about dancing in a cemetery?
Dancing what?
Dancing in a cemetery? Did anybody hear dancing in a cemetery? It's not usually something we do. Yes. Yes is, there are people who unfortunately maybe want to dance on someone's they say that once the very rich man of the village never died, and the rabbi was carrying a eulogy, and he spoke what gracious he was and how giving he was, and the wife turned to the rabbi and said, "Rabbi, I want to open the casket." The rabbi said, "Opening a casket? Who opens a casket at a funeral?" He said, "No. I just want to make sure that I'm at my husband's funeral." What I heard is, usually people at the cemetery, they come with respect, with awe. I always share the Hasidic story of one of the Rebbes of Poland called the Rabbi of Lev, who came to visit Israel. And he came to Kever Rachel, the grave of Rachel's tombstone. And he was a Jew from Poland. It's not a cemetery. You go to the cemetery, to the caver, you daven, you shed a tear. And he saw Sephardic rabbis and Chachamim and Jews with long beards, with wrapped around tarbushim. Are sitting there and eating. They slaughtered lamb. They're having a feast. There's a whole feast. What's going on? Tonight is Avram Chaim's anniversary.
Avram Chaim's anniversary?
Hanan also maybe.
Really? Which one?
Avram Chaim and Hannah, their anniversary. They got married here. Yeah, tonight.
Which anniversary?
Wedding anniversary.
No, which number? Number.
Number. This I can't tell you. Spider.
Avram Chaim, which one?
That's classified.
You know what when Paro asked Yaakov how old you are? Nobody said, "Oh, how old." Anyway, the story is that because he saw these people are sitting there and eating meat and saying l'chaim, and he never saw such a thing at a cemetery, at a grave site. I shared the story many times, and he said, "What are you guys doing? This is a caver, this is a grave site. What are you eating?" And one of the Chachamim told them, "This is our mother Rachel's caver. This is your tombstone. There's nothing better that makes a mother happy than seeing her children eating." That's it. That's what makes a mama happy. But usually we come to a cemetery, there's a certain respect that we have with the cemetery, but not tonight in Miron. I watched a little bit, sitting in the office. They send you emails, you want to watch Miron. I came home, I want my kid to watch a little. You see, this is like crazy. I mean, the amount of people that's like, I'm not sure, this is like every year is like it's almost doubling or tripling. I never saw so many people in my life, and I saw Miron and I saw videos of Miron. This is a website, Miron Live. You can go see it tomorrow. It's going to be 24 hours. And I tell my kids 6 o'clock at home, I said, take a look. In Israel now it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay? And 6 o'clock is here. It's 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. There were literally, at least on that side where the video was showing, but at least 10,000 people minimally were standing and dancing in front of a fire. Dancing. such simcha, with such joy. 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. This is already after the first fire lit at 9 and then 10, 12. And tomorrow it's going to go all day. Till tomorrow night. It's going to continue. Different groups, different rabbis, different leaders, different rabbis. It's crazy. What is that about Rabbi?
I saw video my friend sent from Israel.
Oh, you see, you saw videos, it's all over. And the question is, what is that celebration? And the celebration, especially, you're celebrating it in the cemetery. It's not a cemetery, but that's where he's buried. The main celebration is in Miron. Miron is where Rabbi Mordechai is buried. We know that Reb Chaim Vital, who was the student of the Ari, and he wrote actually his books. He wrote all the writings of the Ari, Reb Chaim Vital wrote. One of his books is called Shara Kavanot, and he writes and describes that his Rebbe, Rabbi Isaac Luria, the way he went from Tzfat, and the joy which takes place in Miron, like all gathered there, and he writes that the Rebbe stayed there for 3 days. For 3 days he stayed, Reb Chaim Vital writes, for 3 days they are reading by the caver of Rav Shimon Yochai, and he says that once the Ari called over one of his students, his name was Avraham Alevi, and he tells him, I just saw Rav Shimon Yochai, at his gravesite, and he's very upset with you. Rav Shimon Yochai is very upset with you. What happened? He says, why are you saying Nachem on his day of joy? What is Nachem? Nachem is a special prayer that we say on Tisha B'Av by Mincha. A special insert which talks about God should comfort the destruction of Zion, Jerusalem, by rebuilding it like He had promised us. We only say it once a year, at the fast day of the 9th of Av, by Mincha in the afternoon. It starts with the word Nachem, like consolation, like condolences, or like comforting. Apparently, this student of the Ari, Rabbi Avraham Alevi, felt so distressed about the void of the temple, about the fact that the temple is destroyed, that for him, every day was Tisha B'Av. So every day in his prayers, he used to say that extra paragraph that we only say on the 9th of Av, which is a national fast day. He said it every day. Every day means including Shabbos and including Yom Tov. Every day he said, Nachem Hashem Elokeinu. Comes on the day of Rav Shimon Yochai's yahrzeit, and the Ari tells his student, Avraham Alevi, the Ari is very, Rav Shimon Yochai is very not happy with you. And Chaim Vital writes that Rabbi Avraham Alevi passed away that year, he was a young student, and he passed away that year. It's almost as if to say, you are saying Nachem on the day of such tremendous joy, I'm going to give you a Nachem, Nachem means you're going to have to be condolent, but it's going to be with you passing. That's what he writes in his book, Shara Kavanot. What is the big deal? What's such the big grace and Maisa? That it's such simcha, such joy. The truth is, if anybody was in Miron, some of you were there. In Miron, you don't have to have, there's good music also. It's not a Yom Tov, so there's music. But it's actually a very strong feel and atmosphere of joy. It's a famous saying that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe say, the only Chabad Rebbe which was in Israel was the previous Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak. No Rebbe ever went to Israel, including our Rebbe. And our Rebbe didn't go anywhere, so he didn't go to Israel either. He was busy in his office 24/7. The only place he went was to the gravesite of his father-in-law to daven. So, but the previous Rebbe, when he came out of Russia, he wanted to go to Israel. And he said, the reason I want to go to Israel, because in Russia, in Lubavitch, he used to go a lot to the gravesite of his father and his Zaydas, Rabbi Marash, the Rabbi Tzemach Tzedek. He used to go visit a lot at the gravesites. But now that he was sent out of Russia, and he can't visit the gravesites anymore, so to substitute the visit of the gravesites of his rabbis, he said, I'm going to go to Eretz Yisrael to visit Ma'arat HaMachpelah, Cave of Rachel, the tomb of Rachel, the Hebron. So in 1929, in the summer of 1929, he made his way. At that time, he was out of Russia. They sent him, he lived in Riga. He traveled to Israel, and he came back. He was there for 2 weeks, and there's a diary, every detailed, describing, he wrote everything down. And he writes a diary about everything which takes place in Israel. One of the places the Rebbe went to visit, and it was in August. It was the 9th of Av, as we said before, it was in Jerusalem. That was that 2 weeks in the summer. But he went to Miron. And he says, I came to Miron. So he says that inside Miron, that there is, inside is the gravesite. Like a monument, like a stone. Outside is a courtyard, and if you watch the videos tomorrow or tonight, you're going to see people are dancing there. So the Rebbe said, the Frierdiker Rebbe writes, that when I walked in, I reminded myself what I heard about the great, the special feel that you feel in Miron by Shimon Bar Yochai. By his gravesite, it feels like Yom Kippur. But in the courtyard, it feels like Simchas Torah. So you have Yom Kippur inside and Simchas Torah outside. Which, matter of fact, this is probably the most accurate description of what happened, what takes place in Miron in these 24 hours of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's yahrzeit. Because by the gravesite, people are davening, and Baruch Hashem, there's no shortage of needs. Like I told my wife, she says, wow, look, so many people, what? And they were singing, they were also saying Tehillim. I said, so many people, there's a lot of needs. There's unfortunately a lot of needs, right? People are coming to daven, people need things. This guy needs help, this guy needs parnasa, this guy needs nachas, right? There's a lot of needs. This is what's going on. We live in a very interesting times. So Baruch Hashem, they go to Miron and they peckle themselves out, and they daven and they sing. But the paradox of this mixture of joy and crying together, it's like so combined. It's so mixed in there. So you know, something about this guy. Who is this Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? What did he have that nobody else had? No other of the sages, no other of the rabbis, none of them has that type of yahrzeit celebration. No one has that yahrzeit celebration. A yahrzeit is a yahrzeit. You reflect on his passing. I go every year on the 3rd of Tammuz to the Rebbe's yahrzeit. Nobody's dancing. Nobody is jumping. It's a day. It's more serious than non-serious. Reflection. Trying to, to reflect on what the Rebbe meant to you, about his lessons, about his inspiration. But Miron, tanzt. So we also know that today was the end of the death of Rabbi Akiva's students. 24,000 of them, so that's another reason of joy. I mentioned before, according to some Midrashic sources, today actually the man began on the 18th of year, not in the 15th of year. There was a 3-day period that they did not have any food. So the Medrash says clearly it was on the 18th. Rashi in Chumash says it was on the 15th. It's another reason to be joyful. We got the manna. But what is it about Shimon Bar Yochai? So the truth is, Rav Shimon Yochai is the one who talks about he talks about his death. Talks about his death. They were sitting in an area called the Idra, and he was meeting with the students, and he was teaching them, and while he was teaching, he died. By the Bukharian Jews, they have the custom that by a yortzeit, just like we read Mishnah, they read Zohar. Some other Sephardic Jews also do the same. You read in honor of the Neshama before Kaddish, you learn Mishnah. So by Ashkenazic Jews, you learn Mishnah. Mishnah is the same letters of Neshama. By some Sephardic Jews, especially by the Bukharian Jews, you actually read paragraphs of the Zohar. And the Zohar that you read every time there is a yortzeit is basically the story of Rav Shimon Yochai's passing. That's what you read. The way there's a fire, smoke around the house, and he's teaching about the highest he gave at the last hours of his life. He revealed more secrets than almost anything else, any other days. So it's a big to do. And the Zohar describes his death, and it describes his funeral, and the fight which took place at the funeral. There were some people who wanted him to be buried in their village, and the people of Miron wanted him to be buried in their village, and all to do what how I finally ended up to being in Miron. Rav Shimon Yochai said, he asked, on my day of passing, I want you to be happy. Why? What do you mean? This is the day that my neshama is finally able to reach the experience which a neshama can reach. A soul can finally be with no limitations and to climb into the highest relationships and adventures with God. I want you to be happy. I'm going to be happy. You are my student, so I want you to be happy. In the Zohar, every anniversary of death is called Hilula. Hilula. You know what Hilula means in Aramaic? A wedding. A wedding. It's a wedding celebration. A wedding celebration. This is Rav Shimon Yochai. The question is, why him? There were other tzaddikim. Every tzaddik, it's a Hilula, right? Why? Because Rav Shimon Yochai is the one who took the what's it called? Who took the initiative, so to speak, to make his. What did somebody told me? Oh, there was somebody. There was a chassid's yortzeit a couple of weeks ago. Rabbi Meisha, a chassid, one of the Russian chassidim. And he used to say L'chaim. He was responsible for the L'chaim by the Fabrengens, and it was known, he lived in Tel Aviv in his later years, and it was known that he knows how to say a good L'chaim. But everybody died. He died. He died on Friday. They took him to be buried in Tzfat. So somebody wrote, he was at his funeral in Tzfat. This is, I think, in the 50s, yeah. They took a truck, it's called a lorry, they took a truck and they joined, lorry, and they joined the funeral to Tzfat. They came there before Shabbos, and he says that after they buried him, someone took out a bottle of mashke, and they said L'chaim, and then someone else came, a little chassid came and poured on the grave and said, on the Meshach, say L'chaim before Shabbos, go. They poured over the grave a little vodka, making sure that he's still alive, Say L'chaim, don't take yourself so serious. That's how he described what happened, Who is Rav Shimon Yochai? What is it about him that we don't find about anything else? So here there's a talk of the Rebbe who speaks about it and says as follows. Said a few things, but I'm going to share with you one thing. that yeah. Basically, the life of Rabbi, of Shimon Yochai, was the first one, and probably even the only one, who truly broke the boundaries and the separation between our world and the higher world. Yes, everybody studies about the higher world, and everybody talks about the higher world. But he lives a life that while being in this world, he lived with the reality of the world to come. The obvious story that we know about him is the 13 years that he was hidden. He was hidden with his son, Rabbi Eliezer, in a cave. The cave exists till today in a small village called Pekin. Pekin, in the north also. They have a place that they identified that this was the cave of Shimon Yochai. Apparently at that time it was a completely desolated place. There's a family who lives, I think that's the oldest family in Israel, the oldest Jewish family in Israel, meaning it can be 7 generations, 8 generations. There was a family who lived in the town of Pekin. I think the last name was Ziton or Zaiton. They
It's
lived,
Arabic?
it's an Arabic, but there was a Jewish family who lived there all the years, I think, and they were there all the way going back to the first temple times. I think the Bobby just passed away. She was a very old lady. Here. Let's ask the Rebbe. There's a Rebbe called Google. Pekin. Okay. Let's see if we can find it. Pekin, Wikipedia. The new Pekin. Oh, Zinati. What did I say? Ziton. Pekin. There's a house here. They call it the Zinati house. There's a family called Zinati. This Zinati family is there for this. I think this is the oldest family who is strayed back in Israel for so many years. You ever heard about it? There was a Bobby just passed away, a very old lady from the Zinati families. I met her here in the village of Kin. This is Wikipedia. There's only 4 Jews left. It used to be a Jewish community 1,000 years ago. The first Jews that we know about are Shimon Yochai, Rabbi Hanania, the next a Talmudic sage, Rabbi Yossi de Mitzkin. Then there is a family of Kohanim called Zinati, which are dear from, over 1,000 years, more. Yeah. Yes.
Isn't that the family you told us that the granddaughters were asked to escort her in a parade in Israel for the Independence Day or something?
No.
A couple years ago, you didn't tell us that story?
I didn't tell you about them though. The family of Kohanim, they were there hiding from the Romans, Anyway, Tuma Uda Zinati. You can look it up. Look it up on Wikipedia and Google. 13 years, his wife didn't come visit him. Then his wife, he had a wife. Rebbetzin Yochai was a Rebbetzin. He had the students, but no one was allowed to visit him. He was hiding from the Romans. And there was nothing there as far as food. There was a tree which the Talmud describes was grown miraculously. The only thing was the tree produced was carbs. Carobs, what do you call it? Carobs. Boxer, they call it in Yiddish. Charuvim in Hebrew. And there was a well of water. This is 13 years. So obviously, to be in that kind of reality in life, which that physical life, and at the same time be connected to, to the life above, living a physical but spiritual life. The Rebbe says that he couldn't stand the guy saying Nachem every day was also because in Rav Shir Bar Yochai's life, the temple was never destroyed. In his reality, there is no destruction of the temple. He sees everything from a world that is full of light and full of energy, right? He sees the real, ultimate, real experience of life that we cannot experience anywhere else. There's a story they say, as well as, they say a story about this child who wanted to be a piano player. What's the story? It's not a Yiddish story. They say there was a child here in America, they say a name, they say a town, I don't remember the details. He wanted to play music, and he came to this teacher to teach him piano lessons. And he said, look, my mother is a single mother, I don't think you can afford it, but please, if you can teach me, it's very important for me that my mother heard me singing. And he didn't show any great skills in music, and the teacher was getting frustrated with him. Eventually, but she gave him some lessons and more, but eventually she realized that he's not going to make it anywhere. But he wanted to play piano at this big concert. And then it came the day when they all made their presentation, and he says that he wants to present, but at the same time, she didn't feel it was going to be any good, but he was pushing himself, and she gave him. And when he got up there, he said that his mother, why was it so important for him to learn how to play? But he said, listen, my mother was really deaf all her life. So she never was able to hear my music. And that's why I was slacking on it. I mean, I wanted her to try to enjoy it, but she was deaf. But this time, I know for sure she was going to hear me. My mother just passed away. So since she's going to hear me, I want to make sure that I play good. And apparently, there's a story, somebody showed me the story. None of you guys? This is not a story I learned in the school. Somebody told me the story here in one of our classes. With a name, with a city. You don't remember anybody?
No.
And it's one of those mices that... In other words, Rav Shir Bar Yochai, what is this child saying? Now my mother is for sure going to hear me. Tidna, she was limited. Now there's no more limitations. Now it's all good. No one lived such a life. None of our sages lived a life like this. The greatest Tanoim, Amoroim, Rabbis, Baal Shem Tov, Arizal, no one lived that life, that in the day-to-day life, in the simple day-to-day life, you should be able to see the spirit of it. The physicality is nothing, not a challenge to you. You only live with the meaning. So obviously when it comes to Rav Shir Bar Yochai, and he knows what's a neshama, and what does it mean for a neshama to be one with God, and to be close with God. So for him, his day of fasting is like party time. You guys are getting nervous because life is for us, family, relationships, experiences, and we're going to miss all that. People come to our funeral, what do they sit and talk and cry about? I miss my mother's kakletten and my mother's latkes and my Bob's borscht and my say this. It's all about what I'm missing, what's not going to be now. And it's true, that's why you're sad and that's why you cry and you should cry and be sad, because after all, this is our reality, this is our consciousness. But imagine now there is one person in the entire world, one Rebbe, who lived that life. And he shared that life, he shared that message. At least they have a taste of it with the teachings of mysticism. Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, is basically doing that. What is Kabbalah telling you? Put the emphasis on the neshama, right? Put the emphasis on your inner core, on your inner parts. And if that's what Kabbalah is, so when it comes his day of fasting, he's able to give everybody a little channel and say, hello, here, this is my day. I want you to realize that you have something more to life than just your body. And certain places in the world you can feel it in the air. Like in Iran, you can feel it. Not all day, you can feel it. People are hungry, believe me, they look for food, and they eat and they drink, but still, L'chaim, everybody, l'chaim. We're going to daven Ma'ariv, and we're going to turn on the light of fire. The custom is light fire. In honor of Shiva Yochai, you illuminated the world with this fire. The fire of Kabbalah, the fire of Jewish mysticism. We're daven Ma'ariv now. We're going to light the fire out afterwards. So you can stay along with us. Before I go, an announcement. Tomorrow evening, starting at 5:30, there's going to be a big community celebration in honor of Shiva Yochai, the barbecue and so on. So come join us. Talking about Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, so every generation has his Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Obviously, for us, the Rebbe Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. I don't know how many of you saw the email. There's going to be a very special program. 24th, June 24th, Monday. Yeah. June 24th, Monday. It's going to be Rabbi Lau, the great Rabbi Lau, the chairman of Yad Vashem, and the previous chief rabbi of Israel, the Buchenwald survivor, is going to speak. The Rebbe's respond to the Holocaust. Very, very important. We all participate and join. It's going to be a very special evening with special videos of the Rebbe. Who got the email? You got the email?
Yeah.
If you register now, before next week, it's going to cost you only $18. Later, it's going to become more expensive. $18, you got a deal. A night out. So make sure to register in honor of the Rebbe. And we should all be there together, Bezrat Hashem. Our Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Now I'm going to daven Ma'ariv. I'm going to go light the Adloka. Do we have a minyan?
No.
יש עם אחד, ישוע.
How many we have? Nicht 1, nicht 2, nicht 3, nicht 4, nicht 5.